وآله وصحبه ومن والاه. اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. تقبل الله طاعتكم. In the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise and thanks are due to Him, and peace and blessings be upon His beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. He who is guided by the will of Allah, no one can misguide him, and he who is misguided, no one can guide him except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. About 25 years ago, I was told a story by a friend of mine from Egypt in the UK. He was from what we call Jama'at al-Tabligh, or they call it in English Tabligh Jama'at. They have something very beautiful and they go to do da'wah in the streets. I think most of you know them. One of the stories that happened to them in France 25 years ago, more or less, it was the following. A brother who decided to go to do da'wah in a certain location in France, which was the first time in his life, in one of the masajid, like this masjid. So basically their system, they do some kind of gatherings, a number of groups, and they go to another location. And one of the things that they are distinguished with, once they locate themselves in a masjid after taking a permission from someone, they go to the neighborhoods, to the streets, to the shops, to the places, anyone in the street, and sometimes they knock the doors of the houses. Muslims, non-Muslims, regardless, just we are your neighbors, we are next to this masjid, if you don't mind, you can come to listen to us, we are calling for our religion, this is their system. So this brother, it happened just by the way of Allah, coming to the masjid like this dar, he noticed that there is an old, huge palace next to the masjid, but it seems there's no one inside it, or rarely someone is using it. So he just asked out of curiosity, have you ever knocked the door of this palace? They said no. He said, why you did not try? He said, did not come to our mind. Okay, can we? They said yes. So this brother, something pushed him a drive, and he insisted. He knocked the door, no one replied. He insisted, he kept waiting, knocked the door again, no one replied. He knocked the door 3 times. SubhanAllah, when they lost the hope, they want to leave, someone came, and he was a very weird situation. His hair, his clothes, there was something not usual, something so weird with him. Just few words, we are neighbors, we are Muslims, and we want to call you to, do you mind? He said, no problem. Do you mind coming with us to the masjid? They said no. He just closed the door and he left with them without saying anything. They did not ask him who's behind, why you came late, nothing. Just, do you mind to come? He said no. He came, that's it. SubhanAllah, he accepted Islam. He became a Muslim. And on spot, without returning back to his house, he decided to go with them to khuruj fi sabilillah. Because they go sometimes 1 month, 3 months, 4 months. No one asked him about what was happening in his house. No one asked him about his history, nothing at all. And actually the khuruj sometimes, it's very beneficial for the new reverts, because practically at least they know some of the akhlaq of the Islam, and they are trained how to pray, how to do the wudu, how to do the ghusl, in practice. When they finished the khuruj, they came back to the same location, which is next to his house. He decided to reveal the secret. He asked the same group that invited him, including the brother who insisted to knock the door, said, I want you to come with me to my house. Said, why? He said, I want you to see something. And he kept that a secret. He opened the gate of the palace. They went into the room. There was a table with a chair and a rope, and he was about to hang himself, committing suicide. When they knocked the door, he was already had put the rope in his neck. So when the first time knocked, already he was just about to throw himself. So he hesitated. Shall I? Khalas, I want to get rid of my life. The brother insisted. He hesitated. When he insisted, he left the rope and he went to the house, to the main door. Now he was a very rich man. He faced bankruptcy. He lost his money except the house. His wife and his only daughter left him. So he had this kind of depression, and he decided to finish his life. Subhanallah, by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this group of Jama'at Tabligh and this specific brother who insisted to knock the door was sent like a rescue by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I know I have a very close chain to the hero of the, I'm narrating by Sanad Muttasal this story. I did not read it. I know the one who knows. Subhanallah, it happened between the UK and France at that time. Now the story is finished. I was thinking about this story. You can tackle this story from different angles. For me, I was thinking about the insistence. When he was knocking the door, it did not come to his mind that he was about to save someone from suicide. No one knew. But actually, this is what he did. So, the moral behind my story: be or keep insisting in doing the khair. You never know how Allah, out of His love and honoring you, might be using you. Because you don't know the ghaib. You be nice, be kind, be wise, okay? But insist on spreading the khair. Insist on conveying the khair. You never know. Now the only thing that person did is just insisting to knock the door. That's it. It ended by saving a life, subhanAllah. And this person, maybe he will become a da'iyah. Maybe, I had a lot of stories about sometimes this one who was saved might be a translator for the Quran in his language. You never know. Maybe he returned back to become another time a multi-millionaire, and he used his, for example, money to build 10 masajid in France, another 100 masjid in India and in Africa. You never know. All of these hasanat will be in your scale because you insisted to knock the door. You never know. Sometimes knocking the door of the heart of someone, your relative, your cousin, your neighbor, keep insisting to keep a smile in your face with your neighbor who hates Muslims. You never know. The insistence of your smile could be the reason for him to be a Muslim. Or he used to be a non-practicing Muslim, or someone who hates Islam and Muslims even though he was born as a Muslim, but for whatever reason he had this kind of misconception about Islam. The idea, insist on doing the khair and leave the rest, because you never know how Allah will be using you in khair. Wa jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.